Hi, everybody. I am not doing a live plan with me today because I am taking the weekend off to both spend time with my family and file my taxes. So if you see me on the internet, so on Instagram or whatever, commenting on anything, call me out. Tell me, ask me if I'm doing my taxes. In the meantime, I wanted to make a video updating you on my current planner routine. And originally I was going to do it kind of vlog style, but it's been a really rough couple of weeks around here with the car accident and with my kidneys hurting, and so that didn't happen. So then I was like, well, why don't I just update people on my planner stack? It's the end. Well, now we're in the middle of the first month of the new quarter, but it's like a quarterly check-in on how my planners are going. And then I thought, well, why don't I just sort of combine the two? So what I am going to do is take you through my planner process. So before the week begins on Sundays, this is how I set up for the week. On Sundays, before any of this starts, the first thing that usually I do as part of the planning process is our family planning time. This is not in a planner. It's not part of my planners, right? But what we do is sometime on Sunday, usually before all this starts, I spend a few minutes with Jesse, my husband. We have a shared family Google Calendar, and we have a shared Layla, our dog, calendar for her walks. We just have them separate from each other because the kids are not on the walks. One, because they don't take Layla for walks. What Jesse and I do is just go over the week, see if there's anything coming up that either of us needs to be aware of, like a day where I have an appointment and he has to take the kids to school or something like that. But the biggest thing that we do is we go and we assign all of the morning and afternoon walks for Layla for the work week. On the weekends, we sort of just do things as they come up, but Layla needs, she's a 1-year-old puppy. She needs multiple walks a day. She's a lab mix. She's got a lot of energy. So we usually try to walk her in the morning, sometime around 10, in the early afternoon, sometime around 1, and then she gets a good hard play time in with RJ every day after school. And then in the evening, usually Jesse takes her for the walk. But what we try to handle are the 10 a.m. walks and the 1 p.m. walks. And what we go through is we just assign them to each other based on what our schedules are looking like. Usually we try to hit, each of us takes one of them per day, but there have been days where I've done both of those, and then the next day he's done both of those. But I get those walks figured out. They get put on the calendar so that both of us know. It's so much less stressful to have the walks assigned ahead of time than have one of us be stressed and then the other one be like, no, but you got to walk her, right? So we do that. We also take a few minutes to check in with the kids and see that they're aware of anything that they have coming up, especially Kat with doctor's appointments. And then we just talk through any of those plans. This family planning thing, I thought it was going to be a formal thing when I set it in my goals for the beginning of the year. It's not formal, but it is helpful. It's just a check-in so that everybody knows what's going on. And so when one of us forgets, at least we know we did mention it once. The first thing that I do planning wise on a Sunday to set myself up for the week is I go into my planners and I do my weekly actions, reviews, etc. So for an example, here was a couple of weeks ago in my Moxie Life vertical undated weekly. This has not changed. I have been using this planner weekly since the start of the year, and I have no intention of changing it up. I'm using it exactly the way I wanted to use it, which is for my personal life, and it's working beautifully. I've gotten into a great rhythm with it, and I have already purchased my next half of the year. I got it during the 40% off sale. So I'm ready for the rest of the year to stick in this style of planner. So what I do on Sundays is I open up to my weekly reflections and my weekly actions page. Now, normally I've already set up this. I try to set it up when I set my week up. This last week I did not do that, so it's not here yet. But on a Sunday, I will open it up. I will fill out my weekly reflections, talk about my wins, what worked, what didn't, and then the lessons I learned, and then the adjustments I'm going to make. So in the Moxie Life system, they actually reverse lessons and adjustments to, like, so you do wins, worked, didn't work. What adjustments are you going to make in the lessons you've learned? For me, I actually put it the other way around with lessons and adjustments because I find it more helpful to think about the things I've learned this week and then make the adjustments for next week. So that's what I do. I fill those out and then I go and I check in on my previous week's actions, wherever they are. I'm going to just pick these ones, like check in on my previous week's actions, make sure I've gone through and updated them with everything that got done and what didn't get done. And I will go to my monthly goals, take a look at them, update them with anything that got taken care of. For example, in this week that I'm looking at, I got my manicure done, and so I checked off manicure on my monthly goals for my personal care stuff. And then I will look at the goals and think about the upcoming week and what things I would like to do in that week. At the same time, I have my Google Calendar open so that I can kind of look at what's coming up in the week and have an idea of sort of what it's going to look like, because if it's going to be a very busy week with my kids or whatever, I may not be able to do as many actions as I would have hoped towards my personal goals, but it might be heavy somewhere else. So I'll fill that out. Once I'm done with my weekly reflections for that week and the weekly actions for the upcoming week, then I will go into my work planner. Now, when I started this year off, I thought that I was going to be doing this in my half letter sized HB90 stuff that I had in the Martha Stewart cover, which is somewhere over on my shelf because I actually changed that. So I will link in the description below my quarterly work refresh where I talked about swapping over to the Moxie Live Daily for a quarter and adapting it for the HB90 system. So that's what I've been in the middle of for the last couple of weeks, and so far I'm really liking it. So what I will do after I get my personal stuff settled is I will go into the Moxie Life Daily. At the beginning of every week, you have their goal setting pages, which are the same as they are in the weekly, except there's no tip on the bottom because it's a smaller planner. So I'll go to this page. So I will set it up, and I can't show you the one I have because I have a couple of deadlines on it that I'm not allowed to talk about. But this is the one I did in the video to kind of think through what I was going to do, and it's been working. So I'll just take some washi tape and I will cover up all of these. So instead of 8 sections, I wind up with 4 sections. And then what I do is I use one area to write down what I'm most proud of work-wise for the week, the challenges I had for that week. And then in this section, I actually divided it into 2 little columns, whether I'm on target or not for the 3 big goals I have for work for this quarter, and then any deadlines I have coming up. And then at the bottom, what do I need to do to catch up or continue to succeed at my goals? So I'll fill all this out, and then I use this other page as just a general dumping section for to-dos and other things. I'm not using it a hell of a lot right now, but I'm glad that it's there in case I need it. So I will fill all that out, again, to reflect on the previous week. So basically what this all is reflection time, although with the personal stuff, I just take care of the weekly actions as well. Once I have done all that reflection and everything, then I go to my Kanban board and I take a look at it. I see what got done, what didn't. Again, that goes with the reflection. And then again, from looking at my Google Calendar and my project management software, I take a look at what's coming up in this next week, and then I start moving Post-it notes from the to-do section to the in progress section in the center of my Kanban board, and I do my best to kind of balance how much I can get done in a given week. This is not something that always works every week. I also check to see what didn't get moved down the week before, what didn't get finished, and am I going to continue to try to do that this upcoming week, or am I going to come back to it later? So I get my work tasks for the week all lined up on the Kanban board, and then I will go into the weekly page for the Moxie Life, which is one of the reasons I wanted to try this planner out for my work, to have just an overview, because the Kanban board gives me an opportunity to put in everything I want to get done during the week, and I take those tasks and then I kind of disperse them out through the week based on what's going on. Now, one of the things I'm working on right now is really trying to hone in on sort of a basic batch day schedule for work. One of my big goals this quarter is to start regularly taking Fridays off, because for the last 6 years I've been working Fridays and Sundays, if not Saturdays as well. Physically, I can't handle that anymore. Mentally, I can't handle that anymore. So I'm trying to organize my work life in a way where I can get shit done. And so whether I do like a filming day and then an editing day and whatever the case may be, that's something I'm still experimenting with as part of this quarter. But using this weekly calendar is one of the things that's helping me develop that. So I will go through, I will looking at my project management software. I will throw a quick screenshot here of both my Google Calendar and my project manager ClickUp. And that way you can see kind of what I'm looking at when I'm trying to figure out both what the deadlines are, what videos are coming up, what's in progress, what's not. You'll see the colors on the ClickUp are different statuses, like whether a video is in planning process or it's creating, post, whatever. So I know what I'm looking at. And by looking at that, it can give me an idea of what needs to get done this week. So between that and my Kanban board, I'm able to decide, okay, ahead of time, these are the things I'd like to get done on these days. Now, when we get to the daily, you'll see that it's not as simple as just this. However, this gives me my plan for the week, which makes me feel so much better Sunday night because I know what I'm walking into Monday morning. And that is all of the planning I do for work on Sundays. So that's done. Like, I'm done with work planning for the week, like the weekly work planning. Personal planning, on the other hand, if you have been on my channel for any length of time, then you know most Sundays, today is not that day because I'm also trying to take a 3-day weekend every month, and that means no streaming on Sundays. Those Sundays, I will then do a live plan with me where I come on and I fill out my planner. This is not what it looks like when I'm done on a Sunday. If you look here in the current week that I'm in, this area is more of what it looks like at the end of a Sunday with the basic plans put in. But then as the week goes on, I fill in the gaps with other things that are going on. We'll talk more about that later. But this kind of area right here is very similar to what it looks like on a Sunday. I use this to plan my personal life, all of the things we have going on, from grocery shopping and laundry and chores like that to any activities my kids have going on or doctor's appointments. We have a lot of doctor's appointments, a couple of chronically ill people in this household, including myself, lots of doctor's appointments. I do put some work things in here, but it is only work things that impact my schedule, like phone calls or videos that are going live, so I can just be aware of that. Taxes are both personal and work. Do you see what I'm saying, though? I don't put in like all the work tasks I have on my calendar. I just put in the things that are time sensitive that will have an impact on anything I need to schedule for my personal life. I have spots for my weather, which I need to update. I have spots for my blood pressure, for my for what we're having for dinner, the habits I'm trying to track. This has all been working really well for me. I have no real interest in changing, although if you check out my Blink Journals review, I will leave that linked below as well. There is a little tiny journal that you can use for tracking symptoms and things like that, and part of me wants to just shove that in the back of this planner and use it every day, but I've got too much going on this quarter to really try to incorporate something like that, so that's a later Cindy problem. Anyway, to do the live plan with me, all I really do is pull together all of my shit. I have my Google Calendar open. Sometimes I will go into my bullet journal and make a list of everything off of my Google Calendar just to make it easier to see because it'll be right in front of me rather than having to turn my head, but it's not necessary. I will make sure that if I have not meal planned yet, that I meal plan then, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. And then I get online and I do my plan with me. I pull whatever stickers I'm going to use. I collect everything. I collect family calendar stuff. I collect the work calls. I collect the Layla walks, anything off of Kat's personal calendar that they share with us, doctor's appointments and whatnot, or either of the kids having a D&D session. I don't often put that in my planner, but I want to keep that in mind when I think about things that we're going to schedule, because both of them are very, very insistent that their D&D time is respected, and I respect that. Once I have filled out the week, turn off my cameras and I walk the fuck away from all of this and I start making dinner and any other things that need to get done for the week. And that is my Sunday planning process. Editing Cindy here, I did want to mention how long this process takes me. I mention it later in the video for some of the other days, but I forgot to mention it for Sunday. When I'm doing all of this, not counting the time I spend talking to the kids and Jessie, because that is usually talking about a whole bunch of things, not just our plans for the week, but from sitting down, opening one of my planners to start reflecting, all the way to turning off the cameras and walking away from it, is usually about 3.5 hours. This includes usually when I'm eating lunch while I'm planning, as well as my hour plus live stream of planning out my week, and another 45 minutes to an hour doing my hangout with my patrons where I'm not actually doing any planning whatsoever. So I would say if you take that hangout out, counting the live stream time, it's probably about 2.5 hours every Sunday. Now, on Sundays when I don't stream, this is much more condensed and manages to last in maybe an hour tops to do all of the same things I just talked about, just without having to ramble at the camera. I'm I'm trying to be realistic with how much time I actually spend futzing around in my planners, and by far Sundays are the longest day of the week for me, by far. I don't think if you add up all the rest of the time I spend in my planners during the week, I even begin to come close to how much time I spend on Sundays, but I also find it relaxing. So do with that information what you will. Let's get back to the video. So now let's head to the weekdays. Let's just imagine we're starting on a Monday morning. Originally, I had intended to do was use my bullet journal as a daily brain dump before I did anything else. Well, I'm here to tell you that hasn't been happening, and I'm fine with it, because what I discovered was happening was I had nothing to brain dump. First thing in the morning, before I've really started to wake up, my brain doesn't work that way. So I would sit there and stare at it and feel like a failure. Life's too fucking short to be a self-imposed failure. So instead, what I have been using my bullet journal for is like random notes and prepping for the week and meal planning and stuff like that. And also, I've been using my trackers. I actually need to fill this in because I've caught up on a couple more episodes of Magnificent Century. But I'm also using it for a running task list. So rather than sitting down and doing a brain dump every day, instead what I do is if I have something that comes up and I need to remember it, I will just go and I will put it in here to keep it until I forget, so I don't forget about it, right? So I don't sit down with my bullet journal every single day, more like once or twice a week to kind of update it unless there's something specific I'm using it for. But like for updating and planning, I probably once or twice a week, and it's not on any specific day, so that's why I'm just mentioning it here. But when it comes to note-taking and things like that, it's as needed. So thanks, bullet journal, for being as needed. Has not disappeared from my layout or my lineup, but it's not being used the way I thought I was going to use it as I moved into 2022. I take out this planner and I go from this to this. I check out my week. I see if anything else has popped up. I add in any extra events, and then I make my to-do list for the day. That's a personal to-do list. There's sometimes already things on there. There's sometimes things that aren't on there yet, but I take a few minutes, fill it in. And then this stays open on my desk all day. When I go upstairs, sometimes I take it with me, sometimes I don't. It depends on what's left on the to-do list and whether I feel like I need to look at my planner or not. But generally speaking, my planner stays open on my desk all day, both to remind me of the non-work things that come up during the day, as a spot to write down stuff if it comes up, and to do things like take my blood pressure and add in new events and check in with my habits as things happen. Like when I walk Layla, I'll go and I will put it in my habit tracker. So that stays on my desk all day. The process of filling in my daily, personal little section every single day doesn't take more than a couple of minutes, usually, unless some stuff has come up and I needed to do some updates to it that I didn't do the day before. But generally speaking, this doesn't take more than 1 or 2 minutes in the morning. So at this point on a weekday morning, I have only invested a couple of minutes into planning. I've spent more time making my coffee. Then we pull out the work planner. And on a Monday morning, I pull it out first thing in the morning, and all I have is this weekly plan set up. I will use this weekly plan, my Google Calendar, my project management software, and anything that came up in my emails to set up my task list for the day, my focus for the day, and if I decide I want to put a schedule in, I don't always put a schedule in. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Stickers are currently a thing because I'm trying to use these up in Project Stash Down, but it's not necessary. If you've watched any of my daily planning videos for a week that I've put up this year, I haven't done it in the Moxie Life yet, but I have in the A5 plum paper. Same amount of time, probably, and I know this from looking at it, when I even include the talking and everything that goes on with filming, less than 10 minutes per day. So at this point, I would say on a Monday morning, I've spent about 10 minutes in my planners getting set up for the day. And then I get to work. And that's my basic planning process. Throughout the day, I'm checking things off. I will move Post-it notes on my Kanban board to finished as soon as I'm done. I don't wait till the end of the day because I want the satisfaction right up front as I check things off and do habits and everything else. Both of these planners are sitting open on my desk off to the side, and I can update them throughout the course of the day. I usually, this changes. My general routine is not to do both work and personal planning in the morning. It's usually just Monday morning. What usually happens is then at the end of my workday, I will flip to the next page And after I've checked out everything I've gotten done and checked in with my Kanban, checked in with my calendars, same process, I will then fill out the next day's work plan. So again, I know what I'm walking into. That doesn't mean I don't add tasks to it during the day as things come up. That doesn't mean I don't sometimes do this in the mornings because I just didn't the night before. Again, that's the way it works. But basically what my original plan was to do personal planning first in the morning, then work planning. But what I was discovering was that it's actually easier for me to conceptualize my work day, because I work for myself, if I do that in the evening at the end of the previous day. And again, you can see all of this in my daily planning videos, but I'm just letting you know in the context of everything. So that's my basic planning structure for most weekdays. That brings us to Thursday. That tends to be the day that I fill in my weather for the rest of the week, because I've noticed, especially here in Colorado, shit changes very quickly. And so if I do it for the whole week, it's usually not accurate anymore. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. I've got an app for that, but I would like it to be somewhat accurate. So I will fill in my weather for the rest of the week. And then usually on Thursdays is when I try to get meal planning done. Ideally, I get meal planning done on Thursday evening, sometimes Wednesdays, because our trash gets taken out on Thursday and it's nice to meal plan after cleaning out the fridge, but I'm certainly not in that. That's my ideal self. That is not something that's been happening lately. Thursday or Friday morning tends to be the time when I try to put my meal plan together for the following week. Now that I'm hoping to take Fridays off, I would like Fridays to be the day I go grocery shopping, but it's been happening on the weekends. So usually in the Thursday, Friday zone is when I do all of my meal planning. And I do that in my bullet journal. I will start making a list of the things that I want to serve for the week. And then usually what I wind up doing is next to it or somewhere in the same range, I will start making a list of everything that I need from the grocery store in my bullet journal. And then what I do is I take that when I'm ready to start getting prepared for grocery shopping, I'll take that list upstairs with a notepad, because I don't want to take my bullet journal with me to the store. I've left it in the stores before. I hate that. What I just do is I take it upstairs with a notepad. I check my cupboard for anything I already have, so that when I make the list on the notepad, I'm basically taking everything from the bullet journal minus the stuff I already have, and then adding any of the extra like lunch items or other things that we need to replenish. The list in my bullet journal is just the items needed for dinner. The list on the notepad is where I take that, I collate it through what I have on hand, and then I add all the rest of the shit. It just makes more sense to me. I like planning down here where I can get a look at my Pinterest board and everything else. But then when I actually make my grocery list, I need to be in the kitchen, because if I try to make it somewhere else, I'm going to buy a bunch of shit I already have and nothing that I actually need. On the same note, when I get to the end of the week, usually it's been Friday, but I'm hoping to make it Thursdays, I will go back into my planner. I don't usually use one of these pages for Sundays. I don't use it for Saturday at all. And for Sundays, if I do use it, it's just going to be a basic to-do list, because most of my Sundays go the exact same way for work. Prepping for the week ahead, checking in with the previous week, and doing my streaming. If I add anything else, I might just make a to-do list, but generally speaking, I don't need a to-do list for Sundays because it's the same shit. So what I will wind up doing on a Thursday evening or a Friday afternoon when I'm done with work for that part of the week is check in with my weekly plan, see what I got done, what I didn't, check with my Kanban board, see what I got done, what I didn't, so I can decide, do I want to try and squeeze in more work on Sunday, or do I want to just be done with all this shit and just figure it out next week? And then I close my planner and I put it away, usually in my little tote bag where I keep all my planners when they're not being actively used. And I don't look at it again until Sunday when I start going through that whole process again. This planner, on the other hand, I will have my list for Saturday and Sunday made out already at this point. I usually sit on Friday morning when I'm prepping my whole planner for the day and just do the whole weekend at once, usually. And then I just check it on both days. And so by Saturday, I usually don't do anything in my planner besides check off what got done. Same with Sunday, before I start planning out the week. But this planner stays open either on my desk or I bring it upstairs with me. I have a little stand I'll keep it on in the kitchen so that I can just keep an eye on it. I don't sit down on Saturday mornings and be with my planner. I just glance at it to see what list I made, mostly because I've discovered I don't really want to. I want to just have my coffee and relax on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning and just see what's going on. So currently, I don't really mess with my planner on Saturdays, or for most of Sunday that doesn't involve the next week. It's just glancing at it because Fridays will be the day that I actually sit and just get the whole thing figured out for the weekend. So by Saturday, my bullet journal is usually put away in my bag. My Moxie Life Daily is put away in my bag. My Kanban board is being ignored. I will use my Google Calendar in case anything's going on that weekend. I'm not really looking at my project management software. The only thing I look at to really figure out my life is whatever I've already assigned myself for the weekend. I very rarely, if ever, close this planner with the little strap. I very rarely put it away. It's almost always in some form of being open, out on my desk or on my counter. It's never put away. My work planner does get put away to give me that mental space from work, which is one of the reasons I wanted to separate my work and my personal planning, and thus far it seems to be helping. The final thing I should mention is if I'm out and about, somewhere not at home, and I need to make an appointment or whatnot, I don't bring my planners with me. I have a fistula in one arm and can't carry heavy things on that shoulder. My other shoulder, I have some nerve pain, and so I need to travel lightly. So I use my Google Calendar. I have my calendar up on my phone. If I need to make a nail appointment, if I need to make a new appointment, I make it on my phone, and then anything gets transferred into my planner. I know some people like to carry their shit around with them. It's not practical for me. So I do use my online. I have ClickUp online, and if I'm out and about and I need to do like a work note, I'll throw it into ClickUp, but I very rarely do when I'm out and about. It's usually for home. What I just do is I put anything in the Google Calendar, or I have just the Notes app and I just make a note about it. It's not the greatest system. Sometimes I lose shit, but it's working okay in the meantime. So that is my current planner routine. I know this video is a bit all over the place, but I just wanted to share with you the updates to my system, how I'm actually using them based on what I said back at the beginning of the year when I said this is my stack and this is how I think I'm going to use it. This is how it's working out in practice. I will say, if I go back to that video and I think about what I said at the beginning of 2022, the biggest change that I made, the biggest beneficial change I made was separating my work and my personal planning and goal setting. Having the goal setting stuff in my Moxie Life planner rather than a separate thing like the Power Sheets has been outstanding for me in terms of being flexible with my goals, being nimble on my feet, and also checking in with them on the regular. I just really appreciate that. On top of that, the Moxie Life goal setting system has been really replenishing for me, and as that's my word of the year, that feels very good to know. So that's working really, really well for me. I'm using this the way I expected to use it, and it's everything I could have hoped for. When it comes to my work planning, I am still using the HB90 system, but I didn't anticipate swapping back into the Moxie Life Daily. I guess I did anticipate possibly doing it because I didn't give this planner away, but it just wasn't something I was expecting to do. But having the weekly layout was something that I kind of dismissed when I went to the plum paper. And honestly, I just needed it to help kind of make the jump from the Kanban board to the daily plan. I needed something to kind of sort through, and I'm sure I could have done that somewhere else, but this is just what's working for me right now. Will I continue this the next quarter? I don't know yet. I'm only a few weeks in. We shall see. The biggest change, aside from not using the HB90 planner in the traditional sense of it that I thought I was going to do, is how I'm using the bullet journal. I came into this year with a goal set to use this for a daily brain dump and everything else, and that has just not been how it's turning out. And rather than get down on myself for it, I am just adapting it to the way I want to use it, basically as a glorified notebook. And honestly, it's working out for me. So this is likely going to keep evolving, but in the meantime, I am totally happy with the way it's going, and I'm saying I don't feel guilty, but I'm fucking guilty all the time kind of person, so who fucking knows. Anyway, so that's my stack. That's the way things are going. I hope that this made sense to you. I hope this gave you some ideas on how you can adapt your system, or at the very least to let you know that it is entirely possible to have all the best intentions in the world and then have things evolve as you actually use them. Like, one of the things, I remember there was a quote somewhere, I don't remember what the quote was, but it was this idea that, like, you make your plans and then you start going through your plans, and the moment you start actually doing the things, everything changes. You can only have the best of intentions. You can make as detailed of plans as you want to. And then when the reality happens, you have to change. You have to be able to make changes and be thoughtful about the way you do things. And that's my reminder to you, is that don't hold yourself to a plan if it's not working, But if you really want it to work, give it some time before you decide that it's not working. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts. How are things changing for you since you started the new year? Also, launch season is upon us, and I haven't made any recent launch videos because I've already made so many of them. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on it on a quick vlog coming up, let me know. But in the meantime, are you buying anything this launch, or are you trying to stay away from it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, my friends, peace.